Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us this week on Tuesday Talks with the Conways, and I'm Chris.
And I'm Courtney.
Thank you so much for bearing with us. Last week I had to go out of town for a family emergency, so we thank you so much for Stephanie and Wendy for hosting in our stead. So I hope you all had a fantastic week last week.
Yes, and they talked about member meetings last week. So if you don't know much about the member meetings, or if you've been wondering about them last week, or in general, you can go look at last week's and see all about them. So
Absolutely. Well, we're glad to be back on our regular schedule. Kind of nice to be back home and
yeah, he left me for a little bit.
yep.
I was single momming it and I didn't like it. Didn't like it at all.
Yeah, I ended up going to Texas and it was a 12-hour drive. So 12-hour drive after working all day was kind of a long, long, long day, and then 12 hours back on Saturday, but kind of mostly recovered from the long, long trek. But we're glad to be back. So do you want to introduce tonight's topic?
Yes, tonight we are talking about consistency over motivation. And I talk about this a lot. I
Mhm.
probably say that statement at least once every single Tuesday talks, because it's literally one of my favorite mottos.
Mhm. Definitely something that's gonna be really important to help get you through those moments. There's gonna be times where you're not gonna be motivated. You're gonna struggle, whether it's because you're on a plateau or you're just tired, which I know we've all gotten there, you know. Sometimes I just wanna eat and not track, and sometimes I don't wanna work out, and having that consistency, even in the lack of motivation, is gonna be what gets you through it.
Yes, there's so many times that I do not have motivation,
Mhm.
and I have to sit there and remind myself of this motto. Like if you need to put it up somewhere or just repeat it in your head over and over again, consistency over motivation, consistency over motivation, because people will tell you they're motivated all the time. They're liars.
Mhm.
They're liars. Oh, sorry. We for some reason did not have the Facebook comments visible. So hello,
Yes.
Facebook.
Hello, Shelley and Naomi and Radina and Kathy and Hope, um, down 128 pounds, which is amazing.
Amazing.
That's fantastic. And that you definitely had to have had some consistency there. That's one of the things we wanted to talk about. We finally met one of our biggest milestones.
100 pounds down, both of us.
Both of us are each 100 pounds and plus a couple pounds. So we're collectively
Well, I'm
down.
technically like point 0.8 down from that because I have a little bit of bloat on me, but I did hit 100 pounds. So
Yes. So we're collectively 200, over 200 pounds down ourselves. So it has not been easy, and we've not always had motivation. But in particular, these past 3 months, we've had to have that consistency to get that over that hump because we were kind of stuck on that plateau. But thank you so much. I hope we gotta celebrate everyone's wins,
yes.
whether your win is 10 pounds or 20
Hmm.
pounds or 100 pounds like us or 128 like Hope, every success is worth celebrating. Thank you, Shelley and
Yeah.
Radina. Thank you. Good to see you too, Sherry. And you're in Florida. Nice and warm down there.
Yes. It's getting warmer here. I actually like it. It's getting a little too warm for him, but
Yeah, I really would like to stick with the 50s and 60s, and she'd like the 60s and 70s.
maybe lower 80s.
And somebody on Instagram mentioned that they were able to switch to maintenance mode instead of losing, so they met their goal weight. So congratulations there. That is amazing.
That's amazing.
Love when people are able to switch over to maintenance mode or maintain, so they can kind of keep healthy, because that's the thing. Once you get to your goal weight, you don't. It's not over. You gotta keep going. It's a lifestyle change and not just a
Yes.
diet.
Yes. So, like I was saying, motivation is never going to be there all the time. Anybody that tells you they're motivated 100% of the time, they're either lying or they don't realize what motivation is.
Hmm.
Consistency and motivation are not the same. And some people feel like because they're consistent, they're motivated all the time. I am not motivated all the time.
Hmm.
I have to push myself through. I typically go through spurts of about a week or two where I'm like, yes, let's do this. And then, like, 3 days to like a week ish, where I'm like, I don't want to do this at all. I don't want to do this at all. So the consistency is what really pushes me through. And I have to repeat to myself, consistency over motivation, because the consistency, anything in life that
Hmm.
is worth pushing towards any goal, like whether it be, weight loss, a job, anything, is going to take consistency to get there. Even when you're not motivated, even when you don't feel like doing it, because it's hard.
Mhm.
It is not easy, and you're not always going to feel like doing it when it's hard. So, like anything worth having, you need to be consistent.
Absolutely. And we got lots of really good comments here. Hope mentions just go to the gym and you feel like doing it once you're there. Sometimes I don't even feel like doing it while I'm there, but you know what? I have never, ever once regretted a workout. I've not wanted to go to the gym, but I've gone anywhere. Sometimes I've
Mhm.
been on the treadmill thinking I would like to be anywhere but here. But after the fact,
I feel great.
I've never regretted a workout. So that's a really good call out there, Hope. Joy, welcome. We're glad you're able to join the podcast today. Radina has a really, really good comment there saying persistence, not perfection. That is amazing.
Yes, and that's actually one thing I want to talk about. Some people lose the motivation because they feel like they're not getting where they need to
Mhm,
in the timeline that they
mhm,
need to. They feel like I should have already lost 50 pounds by now and I'm only at 30. And one thing that I try to do is not say only.
mhm,
No, I've only lost, instead of saying I've only lost 10 pounds, I've lost 10 pounds. And it really does shift your mindset a little bit.
mhm,
But also like you said, persistence, not perfection. Just because you're not where you want to be, or because everything is not perfect, this day is not lining up perfectly, or this
mhm.
workout was not your perfect workout, being consistent and pushing through that is what's going to really matter and what's going to bring back that motivation.
And don't sell yourself out all the work that you've done just because you're not where you're at and you would
Mhm.
like to be. To be completely frank and honest, if we had stayed consistent for the
Yeah.
whole time we've been on this journey, we would already be
Mhm.
at goal because we've been on this journey for about 4 years. But we've still made some amazing
Yes,
progress.
and that is actually why I preach this to myself so much, because I do think about that. If I had stayed consistent when I didn't feel motivated, I would be so much further.
Mhm.
But also, do not beat yourself up. If you
Exactly.
have lost motivation and have fallen off the wagon, it's okay, because we've been there. Like we
Mhm.
literally just said, we have been there. We've been there where we took months off from the gym or months off from tracking just because all motivation was gone. And it just took something random or crazy to bring that motivation back and to get us back. But we decided at the beginning of 2025, we were going to be consistent no matter what. And we have stuck to that so far. I'm
Mhm.
down like 17 pounds this year. I'm not sure what he's down.
I'm not sure. I haven't looked specifically. Maybe 17 or
But I mean,
18.
for 3 months, that's incredible. And
Mhm.
it's all because I've been consistent even when I didn't feel like it. Because I promise you, there have been times where I have not felt like it.
And then it takes being consistent with both the tracking and eating and your exercise.
Mhm.
We've gone, those months where we've taken a break, we might have gone a couple months without tracking, watching what we're eating, but we're consistent at the gym, or we're not consistent at the gym, or wherever you work out, but being really good with the tracking our food and being on plan. And those two together have kind of helped us maintain, but we've been kind
Mhm.
of stuck. So it's that consistency on both your eating habits and your activity is going to be what helps push you through.
Yes.
Yes, consistency definitely is the key, Linda. And that's
Mhm.
kind of a whole point, and hopefully we can encourage you to be consistent even when you're not motivated.
Yes, and someone on Instagram said that they do need motivation, and that's
Oh,
that's the
yes.
whole point of this is consistency can help you get to that point where you are motivated. If you're consistent even when you're not motivated, you're going to see the changes, you're going to see the on-scale victories, you're going to feel different, you're going to feel better, and that will push you through to be motivated.
Christine asked which program we do. We're on the healthy program,
Better
and
balance.
we're in particular on the Better Balance
Yes.
plan. But we have considered, because we've recently done some podcasts on the other plans that Healthy offers, and there's lots of really amazing options within Healthy that you can choose from. But we're on the Better Balance plan within Healthy. And Joy, to your point, Joy mentioned that 12.2 pounds might not sound like a lot to a lot of people, but since January, but all the inches add up. The scale doesn't always determine. We've mentioned back kind of when we were new at the podcast thing that Courtney made a switch from cardio to strength training, and her pounds didn't go down.
It went up
It went
actually.
up, but the inches came down. So
By significant, like four
yes,
sizes, like
yes. So
significantly.
the number on the scale doesn't always mean a whole lot. Sometimes it can go up a little bit, especially if you're doing strength training and you're building building that muscle, but the fat will go down, and that's where the inches will go to. So that's a very important call out. But even then, 12.2 pounds
Yes, that
is
is huge.
that's a
That is
small
great.
dog. You've lost the weight of a small dog.
Yes, and that's amazing.
Or a fat
Congratulations.
cat.
Yeah, or that.
So
We
that's
do
still
have one.
amazing. 4 pound size. That right there is the win. So those are along the what we call the non-scale victories, the things that you can look at in addition to the scale, is to show how good you're doing in your journey.
Yes. Sometimes when people lose motivation, it is because they're just not seeing the results they feel like they should be seeing. Like Chris said, you're in a plateau, you're not seeing the inches gone, you're just not seeing it, and the motivation's gone. Like you feel like you're doing it for nothing. And that is really, really, really a plateau is one of the hardest things to get through
Mhm.
because, like you can lose motivation but still see results and then you're like, "Oh, let's do this." But when you're seeing no results, do not have that motivation, you're trying to be consistent but you're not seeing any changes, it's hard. But I
Mhm.
promise you most people have been there. So if you're
Oh,
going through a
yes.
plateau and you're just like, "I'm done. I've give up. I've tried and tried and tried. Nothing's working." Do not give up. The consistency is what's going to let you push through. Eventually, you're going to break that plateau and you're going to see changes again. And even through a plateau, there are still tons of non-scale victories that you can find along the
Mhm.
way.
And there's some things that we recommend that can help you get through this. Be open and honest about your struggles and your frustration with friends. You don't have to share with everyone, but share with some people that you trust, because you'll be surprised at how that they might be going through some of the same things, and you can be a support buddy for that
Mhm.
person. So to be open and honest, we talk about struggles with our weight. We talk about struggles with some of our mental health issues. Sometimes you feel like you're alone, but there are so many people out there that are struggling with the same things. And so talking about your lack of motivation with others can allow you to motivate others and hopefully get some motivation from others too. And sometimes you also just have to fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Ideally, you're not gonna have to fake it very long, but fake it a little bit until your
Mhm.
motivation comes back.
Absolutely. And like he said with the buddy, like the buddy system, find an accountability partner. If you have lost your motivation, have that person that you can be like, "I don't feel like doing it today." And they're going to be like, "No, you're going to get up off your butt. You're going to go work out. You're going to eat healthy. You're not going to fall off the wagon." Like find someone that's going to be, like he said, honest with you and tell you the hard things that you need to hear. He will tell me like if I'm struggling, he's like, "Courtney," he will tell me like the hard things I need to hear, even if it's going to hurt my feelings momentarily.
But with love.
Yes, get someone like that. Like, don't get somebody that's gonna be like, "Okay, you don't need to work out today." Like, get someone that's going to tell you the hard truth and be honest with you and, might hurt your feelings a little bit, but you need it sometimes, because those are the people that's gonna help you when you're not motivated
Mhm.
and to, like, force you to be consistent because sometimes we need to be forced, because sometimes we can't do it alone. Like, none of us are in this alone, and sometimes we just can't do it alone.
Yes, absolutely. And Radina mentioned if she doesn't gain during a plateau, that's a win. We talked about this before.
Mhm.
We've had a whole topic on plateaus before, and we probably went through a period of 1 to 2 years where we kind of gained and lost the same 10 or 15 pounds. And while that in itself from far away is frustrating, but the fact that we didn't gain all that gain, that because in old Chris and Courtney, we would be on our diet, we'd lose 20 or 30 pounds, but then gain 50 back,
Mhm.
then lose 30 or 40 pounds and then gain 60 back. So that the plateau, gaining the same 10 or 15 pounds for a period of 1 to 2 years for us, I do see that as a win. A little frustrating because thinking of where we could be, but not gaining all that back, the ancient Courtney and Chris, because we're ancient, we would have gained it
Mhm.
all back.
Yeah.
But the fact that we've kept this off is a win. So always look at the positive side. So you're stuck in a plateau. Look at it that you haven't gained all that weight and that you're not returning back to your old ways completely. So definitely a really good call out there. And then Joy also mentions that 2 weeks might not really necessarily be long enough to be considered a plateau. There are so many things that can factor in
Mhm.
to your scale. Courtney is most days an everyday weigher, but she knows the things that can impact the weight.
That's one thing. That's one reason I do it though, is because I know during certain times of the month I'm going to be
Mhm.
bloated. So if I see a spike, I'm like, okay, I know why this is happening.
Hormones, hydration, the volume of the food you've eaten. So if you ate, 2 pounds of strawberries, that's probably going to cause you to
Mhm.
be up just a little bit. 2 pounds of strawberries is not really a bad thing to have. Our daughter went through 2 pounds of strawberries in one day when she was 2, and her pediatrician said it's fine. It's mostly water.
Yeah. But yes, like Joyce said, how some people consider, plateau like 2 weeks, and really it's longer than that. But
Hmm.
some people like, and I say some people because I've been there, so everyone, like probably everyone's been there. Sometimes we just give up too easy.
Hmm.
Sometimes we see all this change, and like when you first start your weight loss journey, you're gonna lose quick, it's gonna be gone. Like you're gonna lose 5 pounds the first week because you're losing water weight, like it's gonna be great. And then once you get to a week where you lose nothing, you're automatically like, I'm in a plateau. I'm not doing this anymore. Like, and then you give up.
Hmm.
I've been there before. It's really easy to give up because you've seen all the progress and then suddenly you're not. But just remember, like Joyce said, a plateau is, it needs to be 4 or 5 months consistently,
Hmm.
and you being consistent, because
Yes.
we have, like we've mentioned before, is it really a plateau, or are you just not doing the things you need to do and being consistent?
Hmm.
And sometimes we really need to ask ourselves that, and just, do we need to be consistent again? Do we need to bring that motivation back somehow? Like, how are we going to reel
And
this
are you
in?
being honest too? Like honest tracking when you go to your healthcare provider, whether it's a doctor or a therapist, it really does not benefit you to not tell the whole truth. The same goes for tracking and your eating. It does not do your body any justice if you're not accurately tracking what you're eating, so you can get a good indication of whether
Mhm.
you're on plan and on track to have success.
Yes, absolutely. And then another way to stay consistent and bring back that motivation is to look at those non-scale victories.
Mhm.
Look at, the inches. Are you losing pant sizes? Are your pants fitting differently? Are people noticing things? Is your shirt looser? Like, so many different non-scale victories. Is your ring feeling looser? So many different non-scale victories that can really push you through and bring that consistency back, which can bring back that motivation as well.
Yes. And somebody on Instagram mentioned, yes, tracking is a must.
Hmm.
And honestly,
That's
um,
sorry, go
It,
ahead.
I was it's very, very important. I've gone a couple days without tracking just because it is a lot of work sometimes, but I don't recommend going more than a couple days without tracking. Just because you can sometimes just not realize, even if you're eating, generally speaking,
Mhm.
healthier and smaller portions, you just might not realize how much you're actually having if you don't track. Tracking is just as a really good tool to be able to know exactly how much you're getting to make sure that you're consistent, and then you
Mhm.
are in a deficit along with your activity to make sure that you're consistently losing.
Yes, and I will say I completely agree. When we started this back, like 100% saying we're going to have consistency over motivation in 2025, this is going to be our best year yet for our health journey. We both started tracking religiously.
Hmm.
Like, I mean, I call it every BLT, every bite, lick, and taste, like religiously. And I mean, we've been seeing it. We've been seeing the weight drop because we've been honest. The other day, I talked about this on Instagram. I accidentally ate 2/3 of a 1,200 calorie cookie. I had a snack accident, y'all. I was sitting there, I was eating the cookie, and next thing I knew, 2/3 of it was gone. I tracked it. Old Courtney would have just been like, the day's done, we're done, whatever. No, I tracked it, and I still had a green dot that day. I still managed to stay within my healthy bites and my healthy calories. Now, that's also because I had a really intense workout that day after I had all those carbs to energize my workout, and I had like 30 activity bites. But still, the point is, Courtney in the past would not have tracked that. It ended up being like 800 and something calories worth of cookie, but now I am consistent in it. And this consistency is bringing back my motivation that I have not had in a very, 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 very long time, like consistent motivation.
Hmm. And as Courtney mentioned, she had that cookie, but she went and did one of her best times on the treadmill ever. Granted, we are not for punishing yourself. So if you overeat, don't push yourself too hard on the activity. You can step up the activity to help balance out a little bit, but you're not. The goal isn't to punish your body
Mhm.
with more exercise just because you ate too much. But she did have a huge win on the treadmill after that cookie because cookie is carbs and that's kind of like a pre-workout. Um, and then somebody on Instagram or Facebook mentioned also, doing measurements. The scale doesn't always determine things. It's very helpful to get you. I don't know whether I've used fabric, like a fabric measuring tool before.
There's actually, I really want one, but it's expensive. It's literally a bodysuit that you put on. It takes pictures of you and it will measure your body with that bodysuit on.
Mhm.
It is the coolest thing. I can't get him to let me spend the $100 and something on it
Yeah.
because we have fabric like tape we can use.
Yeah.
But
So
anyway,
use a cloth measuring tape or something to that nature, and you can measure your arms, your chest, your belly, your legs, and all that, and keep track of that. There's apps you can do. Or if you're like me, you're an Excel or spreadsheet king or queen. Track that, and then those will also help you along with your weight to do that.
yes, because as Joy did state, the scale is just a guide. It's never going to be 100% accurate. You know, she said you have undigested food,
Fluid.
retaining fluid. There are tons of different things that can affect the scale, but your body measurements are mostly going to be, you know, pretty accurate. So definitely go off of that.
And then Kay mentioned they were on a 68-day tracking streak, and lost 24 pounds and is still losing. Tracking is proven to help you succeed.
Mhm.
And the Healthy program, no matter which plan you're on, is designed to put you in a deficit and designed to help you have a healthy, sustainable loss. So tracking is going to get you there.
Yes, and that was actually my last point. So you guys brought me right there to my last point of tracking consistently can make the difference in all of it.
Mhm.
I mean, being consistent with your workouts is great, but like Chris said, if you don't have both of them, it's not, I mean, you may maintain, you may lose a little bit, but you're not going to really see that loss. Tracking, I mean, I can't say enough about tracking.
And then there's also other things that go along with the tracking by weight. Making sure you're getting accurate count of your servings. Like if you look at a sack of potatoes and it says one potato is one serving, but those potatoes are different sizes. Track by
Mhm.
weight, track by volume. Just make sure that you're using the correct measurements when you're tracking things, so that you're tracking correctly.
Mhm.
Because that right there is not is an unintentional mistake, but
But sometimes tracking also seems like a lot, but when you're consistently doing it, it really doesn't seem that difficult. Like it's second nature to us now to just we're eating something, we're gonna pull out the scanner, boom, scan it, done. And then
mhm.
some stuff like I've memorized the bites to like a million different things now. I've memorized the calories. Like, I mean, it's second nature now, and that's
Mhm.
what that came from being consistent.
And then the more you track, and like we've been doing a lot of things by weight. Courtney, because she tracks and she weighs so often, she's gotten pretty good at estimating how much cheese, like shredded cheese, we love shredded
Mhm.
cheese in moderation. She can put the cheese on there by her eyesight and get pretty much on track too.
Mhm.
So practice and consistency. We love measuring things with weight, because we feel like I can get a little more
Yes.
sometimes.
Yes. And Joy also said that she will use fabric tape and she'll record her measurements in the Healthy app under notes. I've actually never thought about doing that. That's
Mhm.
actually a really good idea.
Absolutely. And Joyce mentioned that she put on her Facebook page her progress photo. We'll definitely have to take a look at that. But we love progress photos. Courtney is a big proponent
I
for.
didn't post mine today.
Oh, yeah, she loves the Transformation Tuesdays and the Face-to-Face Fridays. Even if you feel like you might not have had any recent success, but constantly going back and doing your comparisons to what you were before and what you are now, that also helps give you motivation too. So it's really, really good to make those progress photo posts and look at them. If you're having motivation issues, make a before and after photo, or your before and current photo your wallpaper on your phone, so that every time you pick up your phone you can see where you were and where you are now, to help you get you more, keep your motivation or get your motivation back.
Yes, absolutely. So in all of this, if you don't get anything, just remember consistency will bring about the motivation. When you lose your motivation, keep pushing. It's hard. It is hard work, but keep pushing and that motivation will come back. I
Mhm.
promise you. It may seem like it never will, but it will eventually come back. You just have to keep pushing through and being consistent.
And then reach out to your friends and your support system. Look at the Healthy page and see all the successes and all the wins everyone shares. Sharing in other people's success can also help give you the motivation too. We're like, oh man, she's doing so good.
Mhm.
I want to do better too, and that will help with your motivation a bit too.
Yep.
All right. So now we've got about 4 minutes left. Let's talk about the recipe this week.
Yes. And as always, I say this every week. I talk fast. This is not the biggest thing. It will be posted tomorrow on Healthy's Facebook. And I think they post on Instagram too.
And Joy mentioned that she posted a photo in her swimsuit that she used to be
Okay.
embarrassed by, but is
Aw.
really proud of it. I'm really, really happy for you. That is awesome. So here's the recipe.
Yes, this is crock-pot cracked chicken. It's pretty popular, but I healthify it a little bit. But there's tons of different like variations of this. So if you don't like, if you just see this and you're like, I'm not feeling that, there's a ton of different variations. But this is a little bit healthified and higher, very high in protein. But you need a pound of chicken breast or however little or much you want. We normally just throw some in the crock pot. We don't really weigh it out and stuff. We're just like, here's the chicken. But usually we use more than it calls for. A pound or 16 ounces of cottage cheese, a packet of ranch seasoning, a cup of shredded reduced fat cheese, any kind you want, and then 8 ounces of bacon bits. I use the real bacon bits that are like real bacon. You can also use regular bacon if you want, but you know. Add your chicken breast to the crock pot, blend the cottage cheese in a blender until smooth. You can throw it in there, not blend it if you want to, but it will have the chunkiness of the cottage cheese. Add the blended cottage cheese and the ranch seasoning on like mix that, and add it on top of the chicken. Cook on high for 3 to 4 hours or low to 6 to 8 for 6 to 8. Once it's cooked through, shred the chicken and add it back into the crock pot. Stir everything. Add the shredded cheese and the bacon, mix well, and enjoy it. You can use this as a dip. You can use it in a bowl. You can use it over fries. You can make a sandwich, whatever your heart desires. But like I said, because some people do not like bacon bits, you can always cook your own bacon and put it in there. We are just all about fast and convenient.
Absolutely.
Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say this, anywhere from 5 to 8 bites, depending on which plan you're on, 305 calories, 3.3 net carbs, but a whole whopping 45.5 grams of protein.
Yes, that is why I do the cottage cheese. Some people do Greek yogurt, which does have quite a bit of protein, but cottage cheese has even more protein. But also the normal, like if you look up cracked chicken, the normal ingredient is cream cheese, and the cottage cheese kind of gives it that cream cheese vibe. That to me, the Greek yogurt does not give it the same vibe. So.
Absolutely. So we hope that you like this recipe, and we thank you so much for joining us this week. And we're so glad to be back. We've loved all the comments on here. So thank you so much for being engaging. It was a wonderful, fun podcast to have as our welcome back. So we will see you all next week on Tuesday at 7:30 Central. So hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.